Imagine waking up in a world where Donald J. Trump isn't the president of the United States, but instead, he's the president of China. Yes, you heard that right. China, the People's Republic. 1.4 billion people. The Great Wall, TikTok, dumplings. Now picture Trump walking into Beijing's Great Hall, grabbing the microphone and saying, "Listen folks, it's true. I'm the best president China has ever had. Way better than Xi, way better." Everybody's saying it. The question is, what would happen? Would China become America 2.0? Would McDonald's replace rice? Would TikTok only show Trump dancing 24/7? Today, we're diving into the wildest alternate timeline ever. What if Trump was president of China? And trust me, it's going to be huge. First things first, how does Trump even become president of China? Remember, China doesn't even technically have presidents the way the US does. It has a Communist Party general secretary who basically runs everything. So in this alternate reality, Trump somehow convinces the Communist Party to elect him. Maybe he wins over the Politburo with a 24-karat gold golf resort in the middle of Beijing. Maybe he promises to rename the Great Firewall of China to the Greatest Firewall of Trump. Day one in office, Trump would rebrand the country. Instead of Made in China, every product leaving the factories would proudly say, Made in Trump's China. The best China, the only China worth buying. He'd probably order that the Great Wall be painted gold, because of course, walls are his thing. Except this time, it's not to keep people out, it's to keep Trump's ego in. And let's be honest, Trump running China would confuse the entire world. America wouldn't know whether to laugh, panic, or move to Canada again. Now let's imagine Trump actually governing. 1. Trade Wars 2.0. Remember when Trump launched a trade war against China? Well, now he's president of China. So who does he start a trade war with? Beat. That's right, Trump versus Trump. American Trump Tower versus Chinese Trump Tower. Tariffs on Ivanka's own clothing line. A full-on Trump civil war, the only war where Trump wins and also loses. 2. Social media censorship. China's government controls social media. But Trump loves Twitter. Except, oh wait, it's banned in China. So picture this. Trump tries to log into Twitter from Beijing and suddenly realizes he's banned from himself. 3. Military strategy. He'd probably replace China's carefully planned military doctrine with something straight from a WWE SmackDown script. Instead of Sun Tzu's Art of War, it would be Trump's Art of the Deal, with nukes. 4. Climate policy. China has been investing billions in renewable energy. But Trump, he'd probably announce a brand new coal company called Trump Coal, the classiest coal you've ever seen. Meanwhile, Chinese scientists would try to tell him about solar, wind, and hydro. But he'd just nod, smile, and ask if anyone wants to build a Trump-branded windmill casino. Now here's where it gets wild. How would the world react? The United States would flip. Imagine the Pentagon waking up to a morning briefing. Sir, Trump is now running China. Russia, Putin would either laugh hysterically or cry into his vodka. North Korea, Kim Jong-un would be jealous. Trump stole his supreme leader vibe. Europe, they'd probably hold an emergency meeting with a PowerPoint titled, How to Handle Trump Times 2. Meanwhile, Canada would just sigh and start building an even bigger border wall. Not to keep people out, but to keep panicked Americans in. Global stock markets, they'd probably skyrocket and crash every single day, basically turning Wall Street into the world's most expensive roller coaster. But what about the people of China? What would daily life look like? First, all TV channels would broadcast The Apprentice Forbidden City Edition. Instead of, you're fired, he'd shout, you're canceled, Chinese edition. Chinese fast food chains, rebranded into Trump fried rice and McTrumps. The Great Firewall, gone. Replaced with TrumpNet, a social media site where every post is just Trump memes. School textbooks, every history chapter would end with, and then Trump showed them how it's done. Even money would change. Forget Mao's face. Every yuan bill would have Trump pouting, smiling, or winking, depending on the denomination. And the national anthem, replaced with Money, 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 played on repeat, with Trump doing backup vocals. So what's the takeaway here? What if Trump was president of China? We get a world full of chaos, comedy, and gold-painted everything. America versus China versus Trump? Honestly, it sounds less like Geopolitics and more like the world's weirdest reality TV show. But hey, that's the fun of what if. It reminds us how wild, unpredictable, and downright hilarious history could be if we shuffled the deck just a little differently. And who knows, maybe the scariest part is, some of us might actually watch it. So tell me in the comments, would you survive in Trump's China, or would you book the first ticket to Canada? Because one thing's for sure, if this ever happened, the world would never, ever be boring again.